All right, so we are back up in this silo, and this silo loader ran from about here, we'll just call that 3 o'clock, right around to just past 12 o'clock. Right when I said in the video, the last clip there, or a couple clips ago, well, this is run good enough, we can go ahead and have Nate shut this off and we'll go ahead and climb down. Just as I said that, the unloader shut off. He was on the phone with me, and I figured, you know, he didn't really know if I was talking to him or the video. So I said, all right, well, shut the auger off. He said, you want me to shut the unloader off? I said, well, the unloader turned off. Did you shut it off? No, I didn't. Well, I said, turn it back on. Turned it back on, nothing. I'm like, oh, man. So we checked the fuses, like I was saying, in the silo control panel. Fuses were fine. We were getting power down on the ground. I came up top here. I checked power on the cord end. I had it on the lead coming up through the silo. I took the cord end apart going on this lead over to the collector ring junction box. I took that cord end apart thinking that maybe there was a wire broken off inside the cord end. Everything looked fine there. So I took this junction box apart. There's 4 screws in there. Took that apart, had them turn the power. I plugged it back in, had them turn the power back on. I had power on the one side of the collector ring, but I wasn't getting power coming out that other side going over to that breaker panel that's on the other side of the unloader. There's a breaker in there for the 10-horse blower motor, and there's another one in there for the ring drive motor. So I took the connector apart. There's like little brushes in there. We'll show you what that is here in a little bit. There's a little bit of grease in there, some dust. I just cleaned that off, put that back together, plugged it in. It ran for a hot second, and then it quit again. So I talked to the guys at Center State Ag, and I said, you know, could I have brushes that are bad? And they said, well, yeah, possibly. I said, well, if I could get a set of them from you, I'd like a set of them, and I need a clean silo chute. The plastic chute is right there on the ground, so we'll go ahead and we're going to fix this cord. I had to pull the coating back a little bit so that I could get the plug removed and pulled down. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to shorten up them wires, get them all tucked back into that plug. And then we're going to take that end apart, and we'll show you what that looks like here in a little bit once I get that apart. Well, I couldn't do much to that cord end because I couldn't get the set screws that hold the wires in out, and I didn't want to break it because I didn't have another one. So I have the screws removed from this box here, so we're going to go ahead and get that off, move it out of the way, and then there's a couple of screws right there that we'll take out so that we can get in. This is the brush connector itself, so the electricity comes into this guy here, and then it transfers the power to the ring, and then that enables the power to be stationary, and then the unloader can continue to go around the silo. So we just need to sneak in here, get our screws out. And we can remove it. top here. Okay, so now this is just going to pull right out of me here. Ground, oh, we do have a spot right there. We need to file that guy down. Yeah. Okay, so that's what things look like. That's the ring there where the electricity comes up against. And we have a little spot that needs to be cleaned up a little bit there. So this is what these contactors look like. This was the top one. This one's got quite a bit of wear to it, along with the bottom one. The middle one's not too bad, but there isn't any electricity going to the middle one. So we'll go ahead and get our new one mounted, and we're gonna have to get a file or something and clean up this ring. We'll have to run it some and get the unloader turned around a little bit so that we can clean that up. So we'll go ahead and undo our wire fasteners here, pull this off, and then put the new one on. Here is the new one right here. That's all it is. Well, we've got our new contactor installed. We're going to go ahead and get it fastened. And we're going to run this. We need to get it run all the way around the silo. I've got it marked on the ring there. We need to stop it short and get inside and clean this up. There's a little spot right there that's a little chewed up, and there's a spot back about here. So outside of taking this whole thing apart and getting down into that collector ring, we're just going to try to run it and get it around to that spot. And hopefully we can, yeah, get it cleaned up, or this is just going to do the same thing again. But yeah, alrighty. Alright, we've got that brush connector hooked up. Nate just raised the unloader. What he's going to do is he's going to turn it on. The blower is going to run and the ring drive. We're going to make sure that starts under load. Well, there's not really going to be a load on it, but we want to start it with the 10 horsepower motor running. Then I'm going to go over, I'm going to shut the breaker off for that blower motor. Just going to let the ring drive run around. The unloader's at about 1 o'clock right now. We're going to stop it at noon or 12. Take that connector back off and clean up that brass ring, copper ring, so that we don't screw up them brushes. So we'll go ahead and get the blower panel open here, then we'll, or the blower panel, the breaker panel. So we got 2 breakers in there. We'll go ahead and call down to Nate. Hey Siri, call Nate. You won't have to turn the auger on, just turn the unloader on, just get ready to turn it right back off again, but turn it on right now. Okay, now it's going to drop in. Did you shut it off? Leave it on, and then I'm going to shut the blower off so the amperage is going to drop. So turn it back on. I just shut the blower off and the ring is just going to continue to run. I need to run it around. It's got to run for 5, 6, 7 minutes here. And I've got to take a peek at this damn thing and be watching it the whole time to make sure there's not any bad spots in it. If there is, I've got to clean them up. So I'll call you back in a second here. Actually, we'll stay. Yeah, let's just stay on the phone. Then if I find a bad spot, I can have you turn it off. Okay. Alright, we rotated it around to the spot it needs to be. And this top ring right here has got some spots in it that need to be smoothed out. So we're going to go ahead and get that smoothed out. And then we are going to go ahead and put this all back together. I actually got to smooth it out just a little bit there. And then we're going to have to run it some and smooth it out in the next spot as well. Alright, we got that one little spot cleaned up. Now we need to hook the contactor back up, let it run just a little farther. There's a spot right about there that I've got to let it run some. So we are not quite to our mark yet anyways. The second mark over here was where it was at when we started. Well, that did not work all that well. This contactor here is coming into about half of this and then down and below. So this is moved up. We have to take this all apart, clean that all out, figure out why that ring is moved, and go from there. So Nate is on his way up. I'm going to send the pail down, get a bunch of tools up here so we can get this neck off of there, take this whole unit apart, and get it down on the ground here. Alright, I got my main man up in here now. He gathered me a bunch of tools. He loaded them in the pail. We pulled them up here, so we've got to take everything off the top here. We'll get the neck laid down over there. We'll pull this distributor off. We got to take some bracing off the top of the unloader so that we can get at that collector ring itself. And then we'll be slowly taking it apart as we go here. That's right ready to fall off there, Nate. Let me get on this other side and we can lift that right off. Take these bolts out here. They're all carriage. So we probably need 1/2-inch drive tools for that. this. Yeah. Oh crap. I gotta undo that power cord end.
Is it coming down here? What's this?
Wow, it wired right into it. Oh, there we go. What is that?
It's just pulling that top off.
Alright. So. Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, I got in there, but it's... Alright, so we've got the collector ring all exposed here. We're going to go ahead and clean this up a little more. But I really don't know why, unless there's an adjustment with these screws here. So they just need to be moved down a little bit. I don't really know what in the heck is going on here. So yeah, we'll have to get into it a little bit here. Well, we've got this apart, and this shroud here has caused itself, it's upside down. It's caused itself to be bent down. So we're gonna hook a rope on this, send it down the silo chute, take it down to the bench, get it apart, and then I'm gonna go back to Center State and get the parts that we need for it. And then that should line it up pretty good here. So, yeah. Well, we are back here with our new pieces. They are slightly different than what we took out. There is this nylon piece and a smaller metal piece. So these two go together like this. And that brings it to the same thickness of the original piece that came out of there. So we'll go ahead and put this together. I guess they've changed this design around a couple different times. They went from thick without a nylon to thin with the nylon, and then they have gone back to the thick one. And we probably could have got away with just flipping this guy over and running it. But at any rate, we want this thing to work and not have a problem again. So we've got our cover straightened. So we'll go ahead and bolt these new pieces in there, and then we'll pull this to the top of the silo and get it back together here. Well, we got this guy back together. Now we are going to pull this to the top of the silo, get it put back together, and hopefully we can run some corn out of this silo today. So that is all back together the way it's supposed to be. So we'll see if it does the trick. So we have a couple of clips here that there's no audio on the camera. What we had discovered, we've got this all back together. What we have discovered is there's 3 bolts that come into that collector ring that go right through the mangle iron brackets that bridge across that tripod. 2 of them were missing. You can kind of see that front bolt right here, and there's one over, we're going to call that 6 o'clock. There's one over at like 9, 10 o'clock that wasn't in there as well. They are just 1/2-inch bolts. We ended up getting them in there, put some new ones in, and now we are ready to get this unloader fired up. I end up plugging the cord in. Nate's down on the ground, and then you'll see this fire up here quick, and then we will go ahead and climb down. After we get it powered up, we're going to let it run for a little while here, and I do have a clean chute that I'm going to throw down the silo chute here in a minute. There it goes. It fires up. and it's running the way it's supposed to. There is a clean chute that we are going to go ahead and throw down this chute, and then we'll show you how everything goes together here once we get back down on the ground. So now we are running the crap out of this silo. We've got cornmeal over in this other bay here, and when we weren't feeding out of this silo, we were dumping cornmeal in this one too. So I've got just a little bit of good cornmeal to clean up around the edges. We'll clean that up while the silo's running. We'll run the crap out, and then we'll run a pile of good stuff to feed for later on here today. So it is raining here now, which is nice. And while this is running, we've got some other jobs that we're going to be working on, and I'll be making or doing a video on that other stuff. We'll just kind of keep this silo stuff all in one video. And I'm going to be working on some other stuff right in the hay barn here while we're doing this. So the silo loader is running very nicely. I wish I had noticed what was going on with that cover that goes over that ring drive thing, but I didn't notice it, and we had to take it all apart. And we probably didn't need to replace those contactors, but they were wore. I don't know if we could have got away with continuing to use them after we had everything straight or not, but at any rate, that is replaced now, and that shouldn't have a problem for a long time. Them bolts just fell out, caused that thing to cock itself and put a lot of pressure on the cover, and it bent it down. So we'll keep plugging away here. Now we've run all of the crappy corn out of the silo that we need to run. I probably ran a little bit more than I had to, but we're down into some good stuff here now. We ended up running out about 14 inches. We took about 14 inches off of the top. I'd had tied a string around my cable on the side of the silo, and you know, as we lowered the unloader, we have lowered the unloader about 14 inches. So we'll get this stuff scooped out of here, and then we'll start running some good corn out of the silo to feed. So we'll get this out and start running some good stuff. Well, that's just about gonna do it for this video. We've got just about enough corn run out. We can run this silo as we are feeding here in the morning. We've got our control panel in this one bay. We can control the auger, the silo loader right from here, and then the winch for the silo loader is right up on that, right up on the top of that one control panel. There is a option where you can get a timer that would automatically lower the unloader, but we didn't decide to go with that option. We just let it down when we're getting in and out of the payloader. So that is gonna do it for this video. You can find out what's going on with this Moss trailer in the next video. Take it easy, folks. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you at the next one.